Just really want to emphasize that Militia and Jacqueline do need immediate assistance. I'm actually going to post their PayPal links in the description of this episode so that if you do decide to donate, well then you can go through those links and you can send the funds directly. Please, please donate. I can't stress it enough. Or you can share this episode with your friends. Tell others that there are two struggling individuals who are in dire need of help. Otherwise, they're not going to make it, probably by the end of this month. That's pretty much the deadline. And these two aren't just random inhabitants. These aren't extras or NPCs. Jacqueline S. Holman is a UBI advocate who's been closely collaborating with Scott Sens, the same guy who got Andrew Yang on board for giving people monthly cash relief. Jacqueline is also a trading consultant. She also participated in the whole stock market fight between regular Americans and Wall Street, the top 1%. Rings any bells? Yeah, she was a part of that. She has a YouTube channel and Patreon page, and I'll also put that in the description as well. I also noticed that she got herself a new microphone, so maybe she's interested in podcasting, I don't know. Militia will put other people before herself. Hell, she even wanted to help Jacqueline, despite her own horrible circumstances. She's very kind and soft-spoken. She's literally a Disney princess. She's a millennial like me. She likes various music from the late 90s, early 2000s, like Britney Spears, Avril Lavigne, Evanescence, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, you name it. She likes Final Fantasy, is a fan of late comedians George Carlin and Robin Williams. She also told me she wanted to one day dress up as a Spice Girl, which I find to be freaking adorable. To be honest, it is very rare to find someone exactly like Militia, Jacqueline, Jose, or even Andrew Yang, specifically in this kind of society. They're rare jewels, a unicorn, a needle in a haystack. They can't easily be replaced. And it's not like Jacqueline and Militia enjoy talking about their problems, their struggle, and how miserable and depressed they are. If anything, they would rather talk about something that's fun, positive, entertaining, or anything interesting like the ones that I mentioned before. But the pain they're experiencing is so great that it is a major distraction. If a fly is buzzing around and is up in your ear or in your face, do you simply ignore it, or do you stop whatever you're doing and try to get rid of it? Most likely it's the latter. You'll do everything you can to swat away that fly. But we're not talking about a fly or mosquito. We're talking about a horde of angry wasps who've been trying to sting them to death. If you want to see a better side of them and you want them to keep on fighting, here's what needs to be done. Jacqueline needs at least $1,200 for her heating bills and any related house appliances so she can endure the brutal winter that's coming. I'm hoping she has enough left over for groceries or maybe to treat herself. Militia also needs money for groceries, and it has to be more than $100 or $150, factoring in all the other expenses like taxes, bank fees, shipping and handling. And she definitely needs it right now because the holidays can get pretty chaotic. She can't really go anywhere because her country is in between lockdowns. We're talking stage 4. That's how bad it is. And they have this load shedding thing where the power goes off for a certain amount of hours, which means that there's no internet connection, which means it can also halt any money transactions or prevent her from getting anything online or sending messages and recordings on certain apps. And Militia recently told me that she's going to have to get a new mattress, possibly special cleaning solution, because there's a lot of mold building up on her bed and her wall. And I know this because she showed me pictures and screenshots. And all the mold on her wall, the way it looks, it appears as if somebody kicked it while wearing some dirty boots. This mold is making her sicker, and she had to toss out her bed and sleep on the wooden part of the outside bed. I asked Militia, why didn't the maid try to clean off the mold? And she told me that the maid was ordered not to by her own fucking mother. Then the mother brought in that mold-infested mattress and made Militia sleep on it. Now Militia is trying to somehow find a way to get rid of this mold or get herself together, make herself look presentable so she could get a rich guy in order for her to get out or get some kind of help because no one else is assisting her. Now people would hear all of this and by default they would say, why don't you just call up some agency or organization in your local area? And that might make sense in theory. However, if these resources actually worked, Jacqueline and Militia wouldn't be on the internet desperately begging strangers for help. If these resources actually worked, we wouldn't be having a whole bunch of mentally ill homeless people out on the street. See, the whole underlying theme of this discussion is prevention, de-escalation, keeping things from getting worse, and doing it by the most logical, humanistic means possible. For instance, while Andrew Yang was running for mayor, there was this incident where he was on the ferry and he witnessed an attacker go after this photographer. Andrew bravely intervened and kept the attacker from inflicting any more damage. Turns out that this attacker is an avid Andrew Yang supporter, and they were ecstatic to see him. Now, did Andrew alienate him or said, "Oh, get away from me, you're a monster, you put your hands on somebody, and you belong under the jail"? No, he didn't do any of that. He had a conversation with him, and they reminisced about the presidential race, and they talked until authority arrived. Unfortunately, this same person later on attacked an elderly Asian lady. If there were a lot more Andrew Yangs in the city, I'm pretty sure that this particular individual would have turned over a new leaf. That attacker could have been me. It could have been Militia. It could have been Jacqueline. It could have been Jose. Or any of us. If Andrew wasn't on that ferry or wasn't in the same vicinity as that attacker, who knows what could have happened. I also saw this recent interview that Andrew had with David Pakman, and Pakman asked this question about if Andrew's willing to bring a white supremacist into this movement, if they agree with his principles and want to fix our broken systems. Andrew said yes, and there were people who gave him shit for it. What they don't realize is that he's actually trying to reverse the process. He's taking the Daryl Davis approach. You're not going to make someone a better person by pushing them away, abandoning, alienating, shaming, mocking, or shunning them, writing a hit piece on them, or letting them rot and die while they're going through serious trauma. That's what brings them into these radical groups. Even local gangs do it. The goal is to prevent that, to guide these individuals down the right path. And Andrew has actually done that in the past. During his presidential run, he told about this story where one of his supporters was a former white supreme. And the reason why he was radicalized was because he didn't get proper guidance. The only one who gave him guidance were other radicals. But thanks to Andrew, he is now a full-fledged anti-hate activist. The biggest enemies we have right now currently are the powers that be, those that encourage us to be radicalized and divided. And we need all the help that we can get if we're going to try and resist and then fix our broken systems so that they can work for us. And there's lots of things that need to be implemented in order for that to happen. Ranked choice voting, open primaries, democracy dollars, changing and updating the GDP so that it measures everything that's going on in the economy instead of the stock market, and tax Amazon. Then you get to universal basic income, universal healthcare, getting paid for data, livable wages, shorter work weeks, shorter work hours, student loan cancellation, decriminalized marijuana. But all this isn't going to develop overnight. It's going to take years. But we have people out here on the verge of dying right now as we speak, and Militia and Jacqueline are definitely at severe risk. I don't want them to just die off. I want them to live out their dreams and aspirations. I want them to have a future. But right now, they no longer have the will, the strength, the energy to keep on fighting. So let's give it to them. Because I know for sure Andrew Yang would. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to send any funds to Militia or Jacqueline. The point is, if y'all claim to be empathetic, inclusive, a tight-knit community, and that you treat each other like family, well then act like it. Stop bullshitting.